So let's talk about one of my favorite headphones of all time, the Monolith M1060 from Monoprice. Monolith, their let's call it high-end arm of products. These came out back in 2017, and when they came out, they were under $300. In fact, they are still available, and they are still under $300. And for $300, you are getting more headphone than you bargained for. If you've never heard these were compared to the LCD 2 range of headphones back then, which at the time were around about $1,200 themselves. Now, not saying that they were compared to the LCD 2 headphones because they sounded like the LCD 2 headphones. They were compared to the LCD 2 headphones primarily. And if you go back in time and go through all of the articles and all of the reviews and check back and see for yourself, you'd realize that what people really were comparing were not just the looks and the aesthetic, but it was really the amount of headphone you get for the price. It was absolutely ridiculous, and it still is. And this video, the M1060 Redux, is a revisit of this classic, wonderful, brilliant headphone with many flaws. And if you can get around the fact that every headphone has some flaws, then you can do yourself a huge favor if you ever have the opportunity to either invest in or get your hands on or even just have a listen to, in my opinion, one of the best headphones to be released thus far. Again, this is something that I had to become really honest with myself in order to achieve, and this is a way that allowed me to get into my mature days of audiophilia, which is the whole being honest with myself thing, by not buying into all of the negative hype, which made me want to and ended up ultimately supremely modding the heck out of these things to the point where my drivers are actually damaged, even though they sound perfectly fine. These are undoubtedly one of the greatest value kings in the world of headphones, period. And I said it. So here's what you have to get your head out of. Forget what everyone says about why these headphones didn't become the next HD 650s, let's say, right? Forget what everyone says about the whole 5K ringing situation. Forget what everyone says about the fact that it doesn't sound like an LCD2. Forget what everyone says, including me. And I mean that. Objectively, look at what you're getting for less than $300. You're getting huge, powerful, dynamic, quality planars. As much as you might want to denounce it because it looks too much like the Odyssey LCD series, I think you need to kind of get your head out of a certain place, because let's be honest, everybody copies everyone. And the bad thing is that Monolith didn't copy the headband, because this headband is absolutely terrible. We'll just get that out of the way. This headband needs to go, and most people replace it with an aftermarket one that they can find on AliExpress. Mine are heavily modded in terms of the actual aesthetic. You can see that I've taken off the metal grills. I've put on these 3D printed rings that allow me to put any material I want in the middle. And I also have a speaker grill material that's covering it, and a little photo here will show you what I've done with the inside. Now, this is the final stage of modding of these headphones for me. I have gone to the moon and back modding these things. Not because I thought that the sound needed to be adjusted, but because I thought everyone else thought the sound needed to be adjusted. And this is what I mean when I said that I had to become really honest with myself. You see, I have shelves and walls, and behind me you can see some of the many headphones that I have that span many eras of audiophilia, but few of them are in any form of stock mode. That's because I was one of those who fell victim to the whole I need to change it because the industry says I need to change it thing. I've since matured quite a bit and have either undone the mods that I can or could have undone, or I have just replaced my headphones with stock versions for the most part, but a lot of them are still there modded, including these. In terms of raw mods, the foam that comes at the back here, I took it out, like everyone said, because apparently when these came straight out of the box, the foam closed up the headphones and made it all stuffy and veiled, and it narrowed the soundstage and it created this 5K ringing and all this drama that I bought into. You know, this was my first pair of planars, and it shocked the heck out of me the first time I listened to it. And then I wanted to see what I was missing out by checking the internet. And yeah, they went down the rabbit hole. I implore you, give it and every other product you get a chance. Don't buy something, please. Just don't learn from everyone else who's gotten to this point and beyond. Learn from us, and don't buy something on the promise of what it's not and what it can be modded to be. Okay, I could start the rabbit hole here and call a whole list of headphones and whole list of products, and no, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, give something the vanilla chance if you're going to invest in it, because I can almost guarantee you that there's no headphone that you can take the foam out and turn it into another headphone, and I'm sure you guys know which one I'm talking about. Okay, with this particular headphone, everyone said to, remove. I'm talking from the influencers like Joshua Valor and those who everyone was following at the time when these popular, and even Joshua Valor said that the best M1060 mod was the M1070, and I don't know if that's good journalism, and that's another series of rabbit holes we could jump down, but I'm not going to go there. And I have nothing against Josh, I love Josh, but here's what I'm trying to get across to you guys. Out of the box, give the thing the chance it deserves, and I'm certain it's going to reward you in ways that you're going to realize that there are some things that you may like and may not like, and you can adjust certain things mostly via software. If you're into EQing, I'm not, but if you are, you can do that. And if you get to the extreme where you want to change something physical, okay, fine, change some pads. These aren't like easy pads to replace, but change some pads or do something that's non-invasive. But the whole concept of take the foam out, and if you have any experience, you know what? Let me not take for granted that you have this experience. Let me tell you what this was about, and the big controversy here was, right? So when these headphones came out, everyone said that as I mentioned, there was this foam that was right above the driver, and underneath there was the metal chassis that's around here, and so people said that it's non-acoustic foam, and it was just a big mistake by Monoprice, because clearly Monoprice has no idea what they're doing. They do not know how to make a headphone, and they have no idea what foam is, so they just put something probably from a cushion. This is the impression that you get, right? And stuff it in there for the sake of stuffing it in there. You take that out. This is the gig, right? You take that out, and then you replace it, right, with paper towels or a sheet of paper towel, and suddenly the headphone opens up. The 5K ringing all but goes away. Some people apparently, and the headphone suddenly becomes what it should have been. Shenanigans. Okay, first of all, define paper towel for me. How many sheets? How thick is the paper towel? What brand should I use? You see where I'm going with this? So there's all of this scientific criticism about the non-scientific methods and approaches that Monolith took to making this product, and the solution is a very non-scientific, put a paper towel there. And it's the people who promoted this is what got me. So if you go back to the reviewers back in the days, like Sound Guys, who gave these a glowing review, but did mention that there were flaws, they would actually tell you about this whole foam thing, but mention something that I didn't realize until I wisened up a bit, which is that by removing that foam in the first place, you actually introduce this whole 5K ringing thing. What is the 5K ringing thing? Well, you see, there's a part in the frequency response, right, that kind of like a lot of the range lives in. It's in the 5K region, and it's a lot of important data that happens in there, okay? And if you want to know what that's like, just open up an equalizer and play anything on any headphone, on any system, and then take the 5K dial and just like drop it. What's going to happen is going to suck the life out of your mid-range, and you're going to realize that there's a lot of important data happening inside of there. So if you boost there, where here in this headphone there tends to be a bit of higher energy than an average headphone, then you would find that a lot of those frequencies, or what lives in those frequencies, came forward into the headspace of what you were listening to. Now, this all sounds like it's terrible, but I guarantee you there are probably more than 70-something% of the people who listen to this who never had a problem. How can I say that? Because I actually was looking at a survey on this, and there are so many people who had no issue with it. It turns out I'm one of them, yet I still modded it to get rid of that problem that I didn't have. This is not a video about not modding. Let's be back on track. It's about this particular headphone, right? But I'm just talking about lessons learned as we're just in passing, right? So I modded this thing to the point where my drivers got damaged, my hinges are all messed up, the wood never cracked on me, which is amazing because the first version of these, the wood used to crack. Something used to happen and the wood used to crack. They made a new version, version 2, and the wood was fixed. And with my own, I've never had a problem. In fact, the threads where the backs, the round disc is actually screwing into, screws directly into the wood, so there's no metal interface or anything to protect the wood, and it still works. The threads are still there. I have opened this at least 20 to 30 times on different occasions, okay? The headband sucks, the wood works, and the drivers are super resilient, clearly, because they have holes in them, dents in them on both sides, and they work. There's no distortion, not even in the slightest. The detail is still, and let's get into the sound one time, right? The detail is still super articulate. This thing is high resolution. Argue with me if you want, but if you've never heard this headphone, this is what planar magnetic headphones should be represented as in terms of why they are better than dynamics in the ways that they are better than dynamics. I'm not saying planars are better than dynamics, please don't misquote me, right? But the sound is massive. It is bold, it is powerful, it is energetic. The stage is huge. In fact, the only headphone that outdoes this in terms of staging for me, and I have other planars of various size and shapes, I'm talking about the egg shapes, you all know exactly what I'm talking about, again, that have these advertised massive sound stages, which you do, and tall sound stage. The only one that really outdoes this for me is the electrostatic headphones, the COS ESP95X, because those are windows, okay? Those are massive open doors that just open out to the air. These guys are huge in their sound stage. And I'm not just saying that they are the widest headphones. That's what I'm getting at. Sound stage is not just about the width of it, right? The entire stage is grand. So you do get that, oh, I'm in a theater kind of experience when you listen to that type of music. It's out of your head sometimes, but that 5K energy can bring it right back down and make it feel sometimes like it's right here. That also happens when you try this with any open backs that you have. put your hands close to the edges around here, right? So if it's on your head, put it around here, and you're going to start hearing that sound begin to recirculate back into this area, and then you will have an idea of what that experience is like. But the thing is, the headphone is tuned like that, so it's not to say that it's necessarily a flaw. It can be a flaw if you decide it's a flaw and you don't like it. No problem. Nobody's telling you you have to. I can guarantee you one thing though: removing those sponges is not the solution for that 5K ring that you hear when you use it, and if you happen to be sensitive to it. That's not the way to fix it. I'm not going to go into modding these headphones because I've come out of that, and that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to appreciate and at least pay some homage to the fantastic units here. These are super heavy though. These are really heavy. These aren't your Sundaras. These aren't even your Anandas or your Arias or anything like that. This is just, these are heavy. And they're not heavy as in, oh my gosh, they're on my head and they're heavy and they hurt. No, I don't mean like that. They're heavy like, I have something on my head. I feel it. The headband distributes pretty well, that weight, but it does get noticeable that it's there. The problem is when you bend down, if you do it enough, it might start to tilt, and it can tilt over on your head. It's all about how you wear it. But it's not an uncomfortable headphone at all. In fact, it is actually very comfortable, especially with the lush pads you get with it. Not these are some standard aftermarket pads that I put on, but the lush pads that you do get with it are super comfortable, and there's not memory foam, but it's a really cushy, nice headphones. Pads are really nice and fat and cool, so you won't have comfort issues. Once they're there, you feel like this thing is just getting ready to present you with some wonderful audio, and it does. You have to give Jack his jacket, even if you don't like Jack. That's something that you need to reconcile with yourself in this industry if you want to get anywhere in the world of audiophilia. I'm not going to apply it to any other field. We're talking about audiophilia here, but that is something that I had to learn before I realized I was wasting money, time, effort, and energy. Now, I did learn a lot. Don't get me wrong. I have no regrets. I learned massive amounts in doing my modding over the years and doing all these different things, but if you want to change something on this headphone, EQ it. If you don't like EQing, then listen to the headphone, internalize your sound, get accustomed to it, and if you can't deal with it, then it's not a headphone for you. Unless you love it so much and you just want to get one aspect of it to fall into a certain line, then you don't really have many options. But what I'm trying to say here is this. Back in 2017, Monolith dropped a bomb on us. And that bomb is still going off. You can still buy this, like I said, on Monoprice's website and other sources, but on Monoprice's website for $270 now. So it's all under $300. This shoots at a much higher price point, a much higher range. When you listen to headphones that cost into the $1,200-$1,300 today, these outdo a lot of them. I know this because I not only own them, but have gone that far, gone beyond and come back, gotten rid of what I found is no longer making sense, and reached back to the ground roots where I can say that I don't care about the price unless I factor the whole value thing, and that is where this becomes super important. Here's another headphone that I plan to do a video on pretty soon. It's another value monster, but when it comes to value, it is so hard to beat these that I think these have to be mentioned in any value video that comes out. And you don't hear about these anymore, to the point where you might think they don't exist anymore, or to the point where you might think they don't make them anymore. But they do, and the thing is, they are available, and they are still, actually they are less than they were when they were released, so they are super affordable, and you will get more sound out of these. And this is my personal guarantee to you. You get more sound. I didn't say better, I didn't say about advanced. I didn't say anything to that effect. Hear my words carefully. You will get more sound, and if you are an audiophile with any form of seasoning, you should have an idea of where I'm going when I say more sound. Okay, it's a metaphor, yes, but more sound out of these for less than $300 than you can get out of headphones that are routinely going for more than $1,000 today, and that is no exaggeration on my part. I am not biased toward these headphones. I have issues with them. They have their flaws, audio wise and build wise and otherwise. They have their flaws. They're fairly easy to drive. I would say you'd probably want to give them a decent amount of energy to get the best out of them, but I won't say that they are in the class of, let's say, the TP series or the Dakoni Blue, for example, that you can see in the back. I keep leaning the wrong way, right? That needs a little bit of a truck to push those to get to the right highs, you know. The treble response in this, if I'm going to analyze the sound even to a little bit here, the treble response is ideal. It's not one of those bright headphones gets all in your ears, and as I'm getting older I find that I'm less tolerant to higher and more sibilant ranges, whereas before I used to really enjoy that. Now I can't really take that too much. No problems, it's just very articulate up in the higher regions. In the mids, you're gonna get beautiful vocals, you're gonna get a superb timbre. I'm talking instrumentals are gorgeous on this. You're gonna get a stage with impeccable imaging, not perfect, but impeccable imaging that does not put you at the center of the action, but it does a great job of letting you know where everything is, right? Positioning is not a problem with this. And in terms of your staging, I would say you get a front center kind of view with these headphones, right? They are beautiful. Now, the bass response is solid, nice, thumpy, rich, it's cavernous, it's deep, it's nowhere bloated, extended to a degree. It's get a tiny bit of sub bass, response depending on what you're listening to and depending on the volumes you push this to. But it's not built for that. But then again, most planars aren't. Not that it's an excuse. I'm just telling you how they sound, right? But you are not going to miss anything on this. Your details are gonna come through. They're gonna come through clear. They're going to come through rich, and they're going to come through as bright, not bright and sibilant, but bright and clean and airy. And you will enjoy every bit of the music in this. Separation and layering is pristine. Listen, this is all the headphone you need if you ever want to say, I need to experience what a high quality planar really sounds like. My aim isn't to sell this, but if I did, congrats. But my aim isn't to sell this. My aim is just to bring attention to it again, and hence the term or the name Redux. This is the M1060 Redux. It's a revisit of this classic, beautiful headphone that I think deserves not just the attention it had then, but good and proper hardware doesn't get old. We can look at the HG600 series and know that for the past 25 years, or even the Bayer series from the 80s, that are still impressing today and still topping lists today. You know, I just don't see why people have just forgotten about these. Well, I do. I understand how the market works. I do. I understand that. But don't let the influencers tell you that the only relevant things are the things that are on today's market. Okay? Let a nice old audio file on a random video on the internet like this alert you to something that still exists and is still out there and still worthy of your time and still worthy of your investment if you are so inclined. I hope that you had fun with me talking about these headphones. I myself have had a lot of fun listening to them, just getting ready for this video. Please tell me your impressions of these headphones, if you have them, have had them, or anything to that effect. Let me know if you love them, if you hate them, and if you agree or if you disagree. Just keep it civil. We're all having fun here. And if you've never heard of them and have intrigued you, please also tell me about that as well, and tell me about that experience. So until my next video, this is the audiophile show on Radium Classic. I am Tristan, and yeah, let's have some fun again. Another video coming soon. You guys remember Jesus is the way, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.